Hello from Safonovo. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. So let's talk about segmentation and let's start with the definition.
Segmentation, this is a strategic process of dividing of broad audience or data sets into smaller, well-defined subgroups based on shared characteristics, needs, or behavior. In business context, segmentation is oftenly used to put people in several buckets or pockets to deal with them as a single person and to think about in a view of this sometimes imaginary person.
Well, I do believe one phrase that I think you mentioned on the CRM skill. So you said like CRM is not about, like your data, your dashboards or whatever, but it's like when you open it, you just need to answer to one clear question, like when I pick the phone, who exactly should I call and what exactly I should say? So the same thing with the segmentations. It seems like, again, like let's look at it from a probably business point of view, like a very simple, like we just want to understand who helps us make money or who helps us get better and who is not. Yet there is entire skill on how exactly, like find those diamonds or maybe even define it. So probably the first question is like why the segmentation exists if I do believe most of the metrics, like let's say they're simple, but yet there should be some sort of like a hidden complexity behind of it. So why the segmentation exists as a skill, as a class?
Usually on segmentation skill, I talk about people which came to the shop and they want to buy something. And some would buy just socks and you have no margin. Some would buy a fancy suit and you will be happy to have profit from them. Some would just go to see what is happening and then will buy on marketplace in online mode. So you should know how to behave with each kind of person. For example, person which is buying socks could grow and you could help to make it and you will be pleasant and you will be helpful and people will start to buy something more. People with fancy suits, they sometimes would be annoying that they have not enough attention and they would be very greedy to it and they will say, oh, come on, if you don't like me, if you give me not so many passion I expect, I'll go to another shop. I have another places to spend money. And people who are just looking in marketplaces, they shouldn't be served because you just waste your resources and time. So segmentation usually help you to understand how to deal with some amount of people which is marked by some segment.
And when we look into the people and their behavior, or maybe like their habits, or maybe even with the items they interact with, it seems that it could be like a lot of metrics or a lot of like a parameters that we need to consider. So how do we define like what exactly we should pick? Because again, like we could do like full-blown job and maybe like try to track everything. That means we just will spend days just trying to process the data with no results. So how to define this like a bare minimum that would definitely help the business to see the meaningful insights and took the proper actions?
It depends when you start your segmentation. Very often, we as troubleshooters would be invited to increase power or power sales forces when a company has not been collecting data at all. So we have just purchases and sums and checks and dates and sums. So we just divide people by the how many items they were bought on each visit and how often they will appear in the shops or somewhere else. But if you already have like loyalty program and you will give to your customers special ankeets to be filled, you will know something more. For example, if you will be asked to point your date of birth, it becomes it became to be easy to make demographic segmentation. So groups could be measured such an by age, gender, or income, education, or occupation. Then you could use also with address geographical segmentation. Some people will live in very remote locations in their private homes. Some would be live in multi-storage buildings. Some would be live in the middle of the city and some of the edge. Then also psychographics. So some people would say hello and bye, and they would be pleasant, they would be obliged to talk, but some people would be very rude and they just very ignorant. And also there are a lot of other stuff which could be used in segmentation, and those fields in your documents which should be filled by customers limited just by your imagination.
Well, and sometimes, let's say, this is the first time we're seeing the data, so probably the expectation is that we open the door to the storage of the data and everything is nice, neat, very pretty much labeled. But sometimes I do believe it could be like a total disaster within the data. It could be coming from the many places, it could be mismatched, duplicated, or whatever. So before we, let's say, do any segmentation or do any analysis, does it make sense to actually check the data, whether it's clean, whether it's legit, and what are the basic things to do, like when we first step into this role or into this project?
Yes, you're quite right. Usually, if a company just making the sales, that they have no clean data and they have no habit to clean the data. So sometimes people would be with mixed gender. For example, Maxim would be female or his wife would be male, or maybe sometime it would be like several member of the same family would have separate bonus cards, which is not good because you are going not to segmentate just people, much better to segmentate households. So in this case, you'll know how family behaves, not the smartest, not the youngest, not the oldest of representative of the clan. Third, you as a product manager know that sometimes people could be divided by customer lifetime value, CLTV. So if you have some people which are very valuable to your business, to your database, you should maybe sometime refill the data within, I don't know, 2 to 5 years, just to know that they are actual and they are accurate, because sometimes people would say, okay, my name is, I don't know, name of the flower or Mickey Mouse, and I live in the city of Solaris, and this is not a job. This is my reminders from being in Alpha Bank, and a lot of people there would say in something that they live on imaginary streets, imaginary cities, and they have names of the movie characters.
And let's say we do have like enough data to make more or less accurate decisions. Probably at a certain point of time, we also may want to maybe move people across the segments. So for example, let's say we have our golden segment and we do know the in the tier below, we have a certain number of group that is a potentially could be going there. So it might be the one case. Another case is like maybe we know our customer journey and we know that, for example, if I buy computer mouse, I will definitely buy like a one box of the milk. So we definitely want to move someone who didn't buy it to the segment of the people with another purchase behavior. So whether this is a legitimate job for the, like for someone who does the segmentation, and how to actually define whether it's even worth of pursuing. Because for example, let's say if you want to move all of the people to golden segment, it's actually could face the reality, because let's say people actually don't want to do that and they're quite comfortable, or if they will go there, they will slip away, I don't know, like one day after.
I have been to Hawaii with my wife, and suddenly she asked me if it is okay to go to shopping, and we came there, and we were given a loyalty card after several purchases, and we were asked if you will buy for, I don't know, like $400 or $500 more, you will be given another stage. And I was smiling to the person in the shop, and I was saying, okay, we're just on small project, so we will leave in 3 or maybe 4 weeks. Not more. But suddenly my wife say, okay, but it's for us okay. We will be ready to move to another stage. And I told her, but after this stage there would be another, and after 5% of discount we will be offered 7 or 10. But if you are going to take all these clothes back to the mainland, it's very expensive and maybe it doesn't worth it. And suddenly my wife said, okay, but the game was quite funny. So if you are going up on the ladder of of the loyalty program, then you are happy. But several months ago, I was developing a loyalty program for a company which produces cutlery. It's okay to say about I don't know, castrule and
Kitchenware.
kitchenware. Thank you, kitchenware. And they were French guys, and they were very attentive to listen to me. And I told them, the worst part of loyalty program, if you will move the client from segment to segment, after last segment, you will understand that people, okay, they have maybe highest level in the program or high level of segmentation, but they already bought all kitchenware for their homes and they couldn't buy anymore. Not because they do not want, but because they have no need. So sometimes you will be forced to very strange situation. Person or household which buy you a lot for last year, then would stand still and silence for several weeks, and you will be maybe angry, but you should understand this is reality. Okay, if you want to sell them sofa and several chairs, and yes, you are able, but then you couldn't sell anymore.
Well, yeah, sometimes you actually could foresee the customer journey and see that, like there is an end that you don't want them to achieve. So my last question will be how knowing about the skill could help to make this world a better place.
Segmentation will help you when you never used it before in your business, and you have an example when someone was using segmentation and boost up his or their sales. So you should know how to divide people and how to make offer and how to deal with them to make them grow and to enlarge your CTLV and so on. But if you are not aware, better do not start just doing this job for the job, because there is not just mathematical exercises or logical exercises. This is a strategy which should be predicted before you start to implement it in the life.
Well, to steal your words, divide your audience and conquer the sales. So we review the skill of segmentation and how it could be helpful for you stay in peace.